Hello everyone and welcome to the Games I Love. Today we are going to be delving into the deeps of the ocean to score the most victory points in this game here, Abyss. Now, Abyss is quite a lot of things, but it's mainly a sort of a push your luck sort of game where you're trying to recruit these lords into your council to gain their powers to make your life a little bit easier and to wreak havoc on other players, scoring the most points along the way, unlocking locations that allow you to do that as well, but also at the same time trying to buy up some cards using these amazing pearls as your currency. Tell you what, let me just get it down to the table. I'll show you how this game plays, which admittedly is absolutely gorgeous looking, but we'll get to that later. And then we'll come back up and I'll tell you why I love playing Abyss. So here is Abyss set up for the game. Now there will be more things out here for a 2, 3 and 4 player game, but I'm just giving you a general overview of it, so that's why there's only one of these here. I'll get onto them in a little bit. Basically, Abyss is essentially split up into 3 different parts. When you begin the game, every player is going to have these trays here with one of these awesome looking pearls in it. Pearls are the currency of the game, and that's what you use to buy cards, and also you can recruit lords with them as well, which I'll get onto later. And also, really satisfying sound, definitely. So, at the beginning of the game, there is only going to be one option available to players, and that is to plunder the depths, which means taking the top card of this small, well, large deck of cards, but really small, and they'll have one of the 5 different races in the game, which are these here. You've got jellyfish, crabs, seahorses, shellfish, and squids. This time I've drawn a squid and it's a value of 1. The cards in this deck are valued between 1 and 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Now, before you can actually take this card for yourself, you have to offer it to the rest of the players around the table in a clockwise order to see if they want to buy it off you for pearls. Now, the first card that you offer is always worth 1 pearl. So, say for example, if John was sitting here and he wanted a squid worth 1, he could then give me one of his pearls. Bearing in mind he wouldn't have all this many, this is just the supply of pearls. But he could give me his pearl, I would take it, and then he would take that into his hand like so. But if he didn't want it, I would pass it on to, say, Dave if he was playing, and maybe Susan if she was sitting there. And if it doesn't come up to that, then it will come to me, and then I can decide if I want to keep that card or not. So say, for example, John did buy that card. I would then take the next card off the top here, and, well, wouldn't you know it, it's a jellyfish worth 5. Now, because John's already bought a card off me, he can't buy any more cards off me this particular turn, so it will then go on to Dave. Now, this card will now be worth 2 pearls to buy off me, and subsequently, if he does buy that for 2 pearls, the next card will be worth 3, etc, until everyone's either bought a card or everyone has passed. So say everyone does buy a card off me, so there we go, John's got a 5 jellyfish, and oh, Susan's managed to get a 4 jellyfish off me for 3 pearls. Well, then it comes round to me. Now it's up to me. It's sort of a push your luck aspect where I take the top card and it's like, 1 seahorse. I don't really particularly fancy that, so you put it on this track here. And then you draw the next card. It's a 5 shellfish. Okay, well, I might want to keep that. No, naturally, you don't have to buy it yourself. You just take it into your hand. But say, for example, I don't want that, and I keep on going. No, 3 seahorse, I don't want that. Oh, 3 shellfish, I don't want that. Now, as this track is now filled up, the next card that is drawn I have to take, but as a compensation for no matter what it is, I gain a pearl for doing so. So let's see what it is. Oh, it's a 1 shellfish. Well, that's not exactly great, but I'll take it into my hands, and I'll take a pearl as well. There we go. Now, these cards that weren't taken by anyone then go into their respective piles face down on this second part here. So there we go, let's pop the old seahorses there. There we go. Now, on the subsequent turn, someone can then plunder the depths, or they can request help from the council. What that basically means is that instead of drawing the top card from this deck here, they simply take all the cards from a particular pile in the council. So, I don't know, let's take all the shellfish. Now, as they're face down, you might actually forget what values they are until you get them into your hand. So it's like, ooh, there we go. I've got a 5 and a 3 shellfish. That's pretty good. I'll pop them there. And on a subsequent turn, someone else could say, take that pile of seahorses there. But as the game goes on, these piles are going to go up and up and up, and they're going to become more and more enticing to the players to pick up. Now, I'm not quite finished with this deck because there is one more thing that is in this deck that hopefully I'm going to be able to find. There you go, and as you can see, there we go. Now, at some point during the game, someone is going to draw a monster card. There are 6 monster cards in the game, and what this basically means is you come over to this track over here. This is a different sort of area that you can also gain different rewards based on how far down the track you've gone. So with a monster card, you can either choose to fight the monster or you can run away from it. If you run away from the monster, this dial here, this token here, moves down onto the next area of the track. And as you can see, the rewards get better and better as you go down. So it starts off with, if you decide to fight the monster, you then take the rewards on this track. So at this moment in time, if I chose to fight this particular monster, I would get a choice of either 2 pearls, a pearl and a monster token, or 2 monster tokens, which are in this little stack here. Now, monster tokens are anywhere between 1 and 3 points at the end of the game, or 1 and 4 should I say. So I've drawn this. Oh, there you go. I've actually got 4 victory points. So say if I wanted to take another monster token, there we go. That's 7 points for me at the end of the game. Now, as soon as someone fights the monster, the track gets reset to the beginning of the track. So it's sort of another push your luck element. Do you just want to run away from it and maybe fight the monster later on if you get lucky and get much better rewards? So right at the bottom, you get 2 keys. Now, keys are paramount to unlocking locations, which I will get onto later, and that's one of the 2 ways that you can gain keys is by doing this monster track, which you get given this key token to show that you've received it. So that's the monster tokens, and obviously once they've been used, they just get discarded. Once this deck of cards runs out, if it does run out, then the monster cards and everything gets shuffled and a new draw pile is made. So that's plundering the depths and requesting help of the council. But why are you doing this? Well, this is where the third part and the main crux of the game comes into it, is that you are trying to recruit lords of the council. And as you can see, at the start of the game, there are 6 lords drawn randomly and put onto this track here. Now, there are 6 different lords in the game. I'll see if I can remember the names of them. I believe these are the treasurers, the mystics, the warlords, the merchants, the chancellors, and the oracles. Now, these all have different sort of traits to them, and they all have their own benefits to them. Now, how do you recruit these lords? Well, it's from gaining these cards here. As you see, when you buy these cards or take them from the deck, you start gaining up a bit of a repertoire and a bit of a total here. So at the moment, I've got 9 shellfish. Now, these obviously correspond to the different coloured lords that are on this track. So at the moment, I've got quite a lot of green, which will be for this merchant here. Now, the requirements are different for every single lord. So, say, for example, here, I need a total of 8 on the cards, and it has to include at least 1 card from the seahorse race, plus another from another race. So, I need to have a total of 8, 1 at least from the seahorses, and another one from another race. Now, I don't particularly have that, but say, for example, I did have these seahorse cards from the beginning of the game. So, as you can see, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 13 in total here. So, what I could effectively do is I could take these 2 seahorses, so that's 4, and these 2 shellfish. There you go. I've got a total of 8. Now, because I've used that plus 1 other race, that's a good requirement. So I would have enough to purchase the miller. So what I would do is I would take these. I would take this into my hand. Well, take it in front of me here. And that's the first lord that I've recruited into the game. Now, once you've done this, the lowest valued card that you used to purchase or recruit that lord is then affiliated into you. what this basically means is that they are worth points at the end of the game. Now, because this is a tie, so for example, I've got a value 1 seahorse and a value 1 shellfish, I can choose which one I want to take. So I could take this 1 seahorse. Now, at the end of the game, now this is the catch here. At the end of the game, it's the highest affiliated race, highest affiliated card of each race that gets you points. So if I was only recruiting with values of 3, then obviously the highest rated one here, so say for example if this was at the end of the game, and I managed to somehow affiliate a level 3 seahorse, then that would be worth 3 points at the end of the game. But if I only had this set up, then I would get 3 points for the shellfish and 1 for the seahorse. So there we go. It's a little bit of again, more of a push your luck sort of thing, and you've got to try and affiliate the lowest amount you can affiliate with, but then it's the highest one at the end of the game that is worth the most points. Now, what do all these lords do? Well, as I said, they've all got different abilities and different powers. So the treasurers here don't have any abilities, but they are worth the most amount of points at the end of the game. This number in the top left hand here is the amount of points. So this is worth 10 victory points, or influence points it's called, at the end of the game. Now, the mystics are good for basically sort of manipulating everyone else and making your life easier. So for example, the Master of Magic here, when you recruit, you affiliate the ally of your choice from among those used instead of the lowest valued one, which is awesome. So you could essentially affiliate the highest ranking one if you wanted to. That's fantastic. But as you can see, the requirements to recruit him are quite high. You need a value of 10, 1 being jellyfish, and then 2 more from 2 other races. And he's also got a key. So if I was to recruit the Master of Magic, that would gain me 1 key. Now, I'll get onto keys in a second. The Warlords are basically just, well, the dicks of the game. They're the take that sort of aspect for the game. So they are literally there to make other players' lives a misery. So for example, when your opponents fight a monster, they earn the reward from the previous monster track space. So if we were over here, and the monster track somehow managed to get all the way down here, where you could get a key plus 2 pearls, a pearl and a monster token, or 2 monster tokens, then you would actually get the one before that, so it would be a key plus a pearl or a monster token. So yeah, just messes up, not for yourself, but messes up other people. The merchants are basically a great way of acquiring pearls. So right here, you literally gain a pearl during each of your turns. So as soon as it comes back to you, you instantly gain a pearl. Fantastic. The Chancellors can manipulate the game in a way to make your life easier and other players' lives worse. So, for example, the Opportunist. During your turn, you may discard a Lord from the court and replace it with the top one from the deck. So, again, sort of a push your luck aspect there. If there is a particular Lord that you don't like, then you can just get rid of it and just draw from the top of the deck and just see what else comes up. And finally, you've got the Oracles here. The Oracles are the hardest ones to recruit because you need a total of 10, but you need to include all 5 races in that total in order to recruit him. But because of this, it's also the easiest way of gaining locations because he already has 3 keys under his possession. So as soon as you recruit this guy, you unlock a location, and his special ability says that you draw 2 locations, place one under control, and make the other one available. Normally, when you get to a location, one is already available. But if you want to push your luck, you can draw between 1 and 3 other locations to look at if you don't like this one. So, I don't know, let's say I did recruit the Sage. I would have to draw 2 locations. So there we go, we've got the Closed Tower. And we've also got the Dockworks. Now, these are usually the ways to get the most amount of points in the game. So, for example, the Dockworks, you get 2 points for each of your Merchant Lords, plus an additional 5 points. So, for every green Lord that you own, you get 2 points, plus 5 points straight off the bat. The Hydrozera Reserves gives you 2 points for each of your Mage Lords. They're Mage Lords, not Mystics. Plus an additional 6 points. So every pink Lord that you own, you get 2 points for that. And the Closed Tower, you get 3 points for each of your lords with 1 or more keys. So if I was to recruit this guy, I would get 3 points for him. And then if I was to recruit the sage as well, I'd get an additional 3 points for that too. Now obviously, so say I took this guy, and say I had this set up here. Say I had this set up here, so I did recruit the sage. Well, as you draw a location, the lords that you used to unlock the location are then placed underneath the location, and their ability is then covered up. So these special abilities that you have in the lords are only for a finite amount of time. Once you've got enough lords under your control that have keys, as soon as you place a location on them, you lose their abilities. So it's sort of again, another push and pull sort of mechanism where, you know, you have these great powers, but then eventually you're going to lose them. So it's all about using them to your advantage. Now, as these lords get recruited, you'll see the track lowers down. As soon as you get to the penultimate lord on the board, whoever recruits the 4th lord gets 2 pearls, and then the lord deck, the lord track, is instantly replenished with more lords for people to have a little go at. So there we go. So we've got the Invoker. Take an extra turn after this one. That is an instant action, and you can tell when it has the arrow on the side of the card here. So say, for example, this one here is also an instant action. The Trader literally gives you 3 pearls. The Seeker is also an instant action. Each of your opponents must return 2 pearls to the treasury. So again, take that element. The Slaver, during your turn, you can discard 1 ally from your hand to gain 2 pearls. Pretty cool. And then you saw these guys here. Now, that is the general flow of the game. This is going to continue until someone has recruited their 7th lord in front of them. Once someone has done that, every other player is going to take 1 last turn, and then you're going to count up your points. Remember, you gain points from monster tokens, from the number in the top left-hand corner of each of your lords that you've recruited, the points that you get from the locations depending on what they give you, and the highest ranking affiliated card of each race that you've got. So the more races you have in front of you that are affiliated, the more points you're going to get from that. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Now, a couple of caveats to this. If you don't have the required amount to recruit a lord, you can use your pearls as additional currency. So for example, if I wanted to recruit the Invoker, and let's go for the Trader, shall we? Actually, no, let's go for the Slaver, because I've got, say I had 3, so say I had this set up, so I've got a total of 6. Well, that's not quite enough to recruit the Slaver. What I could do is I could take my 6 shellfish and then use 2 pearls to pay for the rest of it. So that's one way of using your pearls. And there you go. The Slaver would then go into my hand because I paid with the cards plus the 2 pearls. So that is it. This is going to continue, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. That's how you play Abyss. Let's get back up on top and tell you why I love playing this game. So there we go. That is Abyss. Now, firstly, I'm just going to get the minor gripes out of the way. Personally, I don't particularly feel that the monster track is that great of an addition to the game. It almost feels like it's sort of an afterthought. It's very, very rare for the monster tracker to actually get anywhere past the 3rd stage. I've never seen anyone actually get to the end and actually get 6. To get to the 6th place and get 2 keys by the end of it. Very rare for that to happen. And also the monster tokens themselves, yeah, you can get points that way, but there are so many other ways of getting more points at the end of it. So invariably, people normally just take the pearls. So I feel it's sort of a wasted opportunity for that. You know, you feel, oh, you're going to, fight these monsters, you go and beat them and everything, but all it generally means is you just take the rewards and then the card goes away, or you just run, in which case the card just goes away and then the tracker just moves down 1. So a little bit of a wasted opportunity there. But that's my only minor gripe for the game. So, onto the things I love, and, well, where do I begin with this game? Well, I'll tell you where I'll begin. I'll begin with the aesthetics. Just, even the front cover of the box just looks like an art piece. You could hang this up on your wall. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to hang this up on your wall, because he looks bloody terrifying, but if that's your sort of thing, then go for it. But yeah, honestly, the aesthetics of the game are some of the most beautiful in a board game that I own. The cards, every single lord in the deck is different. They all have their own unique abilities as well. I mean, they could have easily have just made the mage lords all look the same, and all the soldiers, the red guys, not the warlords, the soldiers, they could all look the same. But no, they all have their own unique artwork on them, and they all have their own unique abilities as well. The races, I mean, yeah, that all the different race cards are, they all do look the same from the same race, but, the artwork again is superb. The board looks visually stunning when it's out as well. And the pearls, I mean, the pearls are probably one of the best things about the game. Just the sound that they make when they go into your little cup is so satisfying to do. Just drop it in there. Oh, it's just so satisfying. And using them as currency when you're buying the cards, here you go, give you 2 pearls. It just feels so good to do. They could have easily just used basic cardboard coins or even cubes, but no expense was spared when it came to the aesthetics of the game. And as I said, and that ties into the components as well. The components are fine. The card quality is great. As I said, the pearls are fantastic. I mean, yeah, they are just literally beads, I suppose you could say, but they have this nice sort of glossy, pearlescent sort of finish to them, which does make them look like actual pearls in your hand. Superb, absolutely superb. Now, onto the gameplay, and again, no expense was spared here. There is definitely a lot of push your luck elements in this game, right from the get-go. When you go to plunder the depths and you draw the top card, you offer it around to everyone else first, and, they might want to buy it off you, but invariably, if it's like a 1 jellyfish or a 1 seahorse, then no one's going to want to buy it. But that can then sort of bite them on the bum later on when someone just takes about 10 cards from the seahorse race, and then, boom, they've instantly got access to buy one of the treasurers and get loads of points at the end of it. So there's a bit of a push your luck in that. But also there's push your luck elements for you in that case as well, is that once that everyone's either bought a card or everyone's or they pass, do you then continue on? Do you take that 3 crab that's in your hand and take it into your hand if you want it? Or do you push your luck? Maybe you're going to get a 5 crab. Maybe it's going to be better. But at the end of it, you have to draw the 5th card, but you get a pearl. But then it might just be a 1 squid, which you don't want. Or it could be a monster card, in which case, well, you have to either fight it or run away. You don't have any options there. So there's that. And then the recruiting of the lords as well, gaining up the total amount of cards and gaining these powers that are basically unique to you. No one else can use them. It's great. Like the merchants that allow you to gain more pearls, like that one that just literally gives you a pearl on every turn. That's a really good move to have. But then there's others that are just as good. For example, there's a lord that allows you to increase the value of opponents' recruitment costs by 2, I think it is. And there's another card that reverses that and lowers the cost for recruitment for you by 2. So if you have both of those out, then the game does definitely get a lot easier for you. The one thing is that there is definitely a lot of point gathering in this for sure. You've got the locations as well, which, I mean, I've not seen probably half of the locations that have come out because there are so many. And to be fair, as much as you're building up to them, they're sort of not used to their full advantage, I would say. Because by the time you've recruited, say, your 5th lord or something, then you're getting towards the end game. So invariably, most players are going to have 1, maybe 2 max locations, depending on if that's what they're going for. And some of the points that you get off there are not quite as good as the Lords, because like those treasurers that you've got, I think the highest one there is 16 points, which is a ridiculous amount of points. But again, it's the push or luck thing. You know, do you go for the one that gives you like 2 points per mage lord that you have, or do you go for the one that just gives you 3 points per lord that has a key in front of you? I love the decisions that you have to make in this game, but despite all this, it sounds really convoluted and complex, but it's not. Once everyone gets into it, it flows really well. It just flows, and it goes really quickly. You think, oh god, recruiting 7 lords, that sounds like it's going to take a long time. But once you get those powers going, and once everyone gets into the flow of the game, the playtime of 45 minutes they give on the box is actually relatively accurate for what this is. So it is a fairly quick game to play as well, but it's one that you'll definitely want to come back to and play again. Now, I have got the Kraken expansion, which I will go into on the next video, but you'll have to wait for that to see what it actually brings to the table. But that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching it. If you've never seen or played Abyss before, I do highly recommend it. I believe you can still get it, at least this cover, because for some reason there was a limited edition. In fact, there was 3 limited edition covers they could get for it. But yeah, if you can get a hold of it, it's incredibly fun. It's gone down well every time I've brought this out onto the table, and it definitely will make people stop and look at it and go, wow, what is that you're playing? Beautiful artwork, great gameplay, and highly recommended from me. So there we go, that was another game that I do very much love. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video with another game that I, well, definitely love as well. So until then, I'll see you soon.